War tensions are rising in the Middle East. Diplomats leaving, flights grounded. The fear of a US strike is growing by the hour. The United Kingdom has temporarily withdrawn its diplomatic staff from Tehran, citing a rapidly deteriorating security situation, Reuters reported. In a statement, British officials added that the embassy in Tehran will continue operating remotely following the move. The UK also announced that it temporarily moved some of its staff and their dependents from Tel Aviv to another location within Israel, stressing that its embassy continues to operate as normal. The UK's Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO, advised against all travel to Iran, adding that British nationals already in the country should carefully consider the risks of remaining there. UK authorities cautioned that British and dual British-Iranian nationals face a significant risk of arrest or detention in Iran, saying that having a British passport or connections to the UK can be reason enough for the Iranian authorities to detain you. Britain's Foreign Office said its ability to assist its nationals was now extremely limited, and no in-person consular support was available, even in emergencies. For Israel, the FCDO recommended against all but essential travel to Israel and Palestine, and all travel to parts of Israel and Palestine, such as Gaza, the West Bank, and northern Israel. The situation could escalate quickly and poses significant risks. Regional tensions may cause international borders, air and land, to close, it said. UK officials cited that any escalation could lead to travel disruption and other unforeseen impacts. That is not all. Turkey cancelled flights to Tehran on Friday night as the threat of a US military strike on the Islamic Republic looms. Flights from Istanbul airport to Tehran were cancelled. Al Arabiya reported that Istanbul airport said flights by Turkish Airlines and 2 Iranian companies to the Iranian capital had been cancelled. 4 flights to Tehran scheduled for Saturday were also cancelled, though 6 others remained on the schedule. A Turkish Airlines flight to the northern Iranian city of Tabriz, due to leave early Saturday, was also called off. Meanwhile, Turkish Airlines, Turkey's national flag carrier, rejected claims that it had cancelled flights to Tehran. The airline's senior vice president for communications, Yahya Ustun, said reports circulating on social media about flight suspensions were inaccurate. He said, "Our flights operating during daytime conditions are continuing as planned." Like the US and UK, Turkey has made no comment yet on advising its nationals to leave Iran. Turkey, which is also part of NATO, has a 550-kilometer border with Iran. The region is on edge after the 3rd round of indirect talks between the US and Iran ended without reaching an agreement. This has triggered panic in the region that a US strike on Iran could be just hours away. The US had already made it clear that it is losing patience as Iran has not yet signed a nuclear deal with Washington. The United States has built up a large military presence across the Middle East ahead of a possible strike on Iran. It's the largest US military buildup in the region since the 2003 invasion of Iraq.
With the threat of a potential US strike on Iran looming, the United States Embassy in Jerusalem has taken a dramatic step, telling its staff they may leave Israel immediately. In an urgent email sent Friday, US Ambassador Mike Huckabee instructed embassy personnel that those wishing to depart should do so today. The message, according to the New York Times, followed overnight meetings and high-level calls with the State Department in Washington. While the email made no explicit mention of Iran, the timing is impossible to ignore. Huckabee described the move as an abundance of caution, stressing that the safety of American personnel is the top priority. The embassy has now shifted to what is known as an authorized departure status, a formal designation that allows non-essential staff and their families to evacuate at government expense when national interests or imminent threats to life require it. The directive was clear: secure a seat out of Ben Gurion Airport as quickly as possible. Huckabee wrote, "Focus on getting a seat to any place," emphasizing speed over destination. The goal is simple: get out first, figure out the rest later. He warned demand for flights could surge immediately, and there are already signs of strain. Dutch airline KLM has suspended service to Israel, citing operational considerations. Other carriers could follow if tensions escalate. The move comes after the third round of high-stakes nuclear talks between Washington and Tehran in Geneva ended without a breakthrough, but also without a collapse. Iranian officials and Omani mediators say negotiations will continue next week in an attempt to avert war.
I can confidently state that over these past several long and very intensive hours, we have made substantial progress and have very seriously delved into the fundamental elements of an agreement encompassing both the nuclear domain and the critical area of sanctions. It was our decision that the technical teams, PULLOUT, are starting Monday. PULLOUT in Vienna. PULLOUT would commence the technical assessment work. PULLOUT at the International Atomic Energy Agency. It was decided that very soon, perhaps in less than or about a week, the next round of negotiations will be held.
Behind the scenes, US officials acknowledge President Trump is weighing options, from targeted strikes on Iranian military and nuclear facilities to broader military action if diplomacy fails. Some proposals reportedly include applying overwhelming pressure to extract major concessions. Others go further, raising the specter of regime change. Israel, a close US ally, would almost certainly be a target for Iranian retaliation in the event of an American strike. That reality adds urgency to the embassy's decision. The State Department has also issued a travel advisory urging Americans to reconsider travel to Israel and the West Bank, citing terrorism and civil unrest. Similar precautionary evacuations are underway in Lebanon. Australia has begun relocating diplomatic dependents across the region.
Today is the third round of negotiations between Iran and the US since the 12-day war. And the Iranians came with a draft proposal which has a lot of technical details. It does appear that it was attractive enough for the US team to decide that they're going to go attend the Ukraine negotiations and then come back to continue these talks with the Iranians. I think if the US team had walked away immediately upon seeing the details of the Iranian proposal, that would have been a breakdown in the talks. There might still not be a breakthrough at the end of this day, but the very fact that the US team is returning shows that there is enough common ground between the two sides. I think what has sharpened the minds on both sides is the unattractiveness of the alternative, which is war. And it is true that if today, which is a very decisive day, does not end in at least enough common ground for some sort of an outline of a deal or a framework, then the risk of war would really go up even as early as this weekend. So this is why it is important that the US is coming back to the table and trying to get to the finish line. The reality is that there is a narrow pathway to a deal, but it does require both sides to soften their red lines. It does require for President Trump to understand the kind of capitulation that he was hoping the extreme military, economic, diplomatic pressure on Iran would produce is just simply not on the cards. And if there is a solution in which the Iranians can save face, yes, there is an exit ramp available for both sides. I think the margin for maneuver for both sides is so much more limited because in the past, if the talks fail, they would resume in 3 months, they would resume in 4 months. Now, if the talks fail, there is a real risk of a conflict with unpredictable, potentially disastrous consequences for both sides that could happen in a matter of days. And so the stakes are higher. but there is, again, a narrow pathway forward if both sides are willing to demonstrate enough flexibility.